Lowdown Nation, welcome aboard for episode 32 of The Lowdown with Matt. Tonight, it is my distinct pleasure to have with me Kyle and Rohan, who are two members of the band Embracing the Enemy. How are you doing tonight, fellas?
Doing great. Glad to be out here tonight.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So, I guess we'll just get right into the subject matter at hand and go ahead and ask the first and most obvious question to both of you. How long have you been playing music individually and collectively?
Kyle, you want to take this one?
Sure. I've been playing since middle school, so I guess that's probably about 15-ish years. And I kind of went back and forth between lessons and self-taught. I think I took lessons a lot when I started, and then I kind of became self-taught after that. But I guess on and off 15 years or so. And then together we've been playing since freshman year of college, which is about 8 years ago.
Gotcha.
About the same for me, but took less classes, so I was mostly self-taught. But I kind of just self-taught from listening to the bands that I like, and then just try to do it. And now I'm here.
Gotcha. So, tell me about your current gear and live setup. What do you play? What do you play through? Any pedal boards? All that good stuff. Let's get technical here.
You go first, Rohan, and then I'll show off my guitars.
Okay. So, yeah, in terms of being a vocalist, I don't have a ton of gear. When we used to play live, I had a Voice Live Extreme 3 vocal box, and that just puts effects and stuff on my voice. Came in pretty handy for the live shows. And then a wireless microphone that I've since lost. We haven't played a show in a while, so. But yeah, that's really all the gear I have. Loading is always pretty light for me. He's got a lot more gear.
Gotcha.
His is jealously light because we always have to carry in the big stuff. He always sits there and talks to the crowd while we're freaking carrying.
Called networking.
Schmoozing.
Yeah,
a lot of that. For my gear, for guitars, I like to rock a green Mayones. I use bare knuckle pickups in this one. I run it through an Axe FX 2. I know there's an Axe FX 3, but I'm old school and I like the 2 a little bit better. I got a Behringer pedal that kind of changes all the different settings on the Axe, but my setup's pretty much entirely digital. I just run through the PA straight from the Axe. I switched between this guitar and I've gotten a new kind of lead style guitar now, which is the Sir. I call it a custom tee, but it's this orange style guitar here. You'll see it in a lot of our playthroughs that we're dropping on Instagram as we kind of switch back and forth between this one and the green one for more of the rhythm section stuff. But yeah,
nice.
Digital and the Axe FX is what we pretty much use for our guitar stuff.
Cool. So, musicians tend to collect gear. Do you have anything really unique or unusual in your gear collection or arsenal that you would like to talk about? Just anything rare or unique or sentimental or special?
I like the 2 guitars that I got. I think the Mayones is a brand that's crafted in Poland, and they make one, and I really, really like that guitar. I've been using it for a very long time. The Sir, I can't remember where that was crafted from, but that's also a really, really cool guitar that I played too. They're both sentimental for me because of how much money I've spent on them, and also because of how great they play and how awesome they are. I've always wanted a Telecaster for a long time, and I'm happy I got one. So,
I really like the color on that Mayones. That green is really a neat shade. It's a very unusual shade of green. I really dig that.
Yeah, Got like the tiger blackstripe green. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Cool looking guitar.
Absolutely. So, I usually ask this to my bass player guests because I consider it kind of a comedy question, but I'll ask it to you as well. How often do you change strings? And the reason I consider it a comedy for the bass players is bass strings are not cheap, for one thing. And bass strings tend to hold up pretty well. And a lot of bass players rarely to never change their strings. So, anyway, how often do you change strings being a guitarist?
I change them before every like recording. I guess like every recording month. So like if we're going to album recording, I'll change my strings probably for that like maybe every like right before, and then like maybe halfway through recording, I'll probably change them again just to get that fresh sound. And then before every live show, which we haven't had a live show in a while, but before every live show, I'll change my strings too. And I can guarantee you, our bassist did not change his strings as often as I did, if at all. So,
Got you.
I think he did once. I recall I used to live with him, and I think one time I saw him changing his strings because I asked him to.
they
So,
were he told us they were very expensive. So you were right. And he like had them custom bought because we play in a lot of low tunings. So he got them from String Joy, and he like custom ordered each string individually. So it was crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. To restring a bass, you practically have to take out a second mortgage on your house. I mean, it is just ridiculously expensive. But anyway, so individually, who would you say are some of your personal musical influences?
You go first, Ron.
all right. So for me, the Korn would be my number one all-time musical influence. I saw my first Korn concert when I was in middle school, and I was so just blown away and by all the music and just the performance. I was like, I want to do this. Like in some capacity, I want to be able to do this. Early Slipknot, early Linkin Park as well were very influential to my vocal style, like Corey Taylor, Chester Bennington. Very, very influential for my how I sing and scream. Yeah, that's and just a lot of new metal and hip hop are usually my big go-to music genres. So
Well, it's interesting that you cited Chester because getting ready for this, I've kind of gone down the rabbit hole somewhat, listening to some of your music, and I was actually going. If you hadn't brought it up, I was going to mention that I definitely hear a Chester influence on your vocals. So
thank you. That's not an accident. He was such a. I loved his style so much. It was very influential, and I kind of like. It's also my way of kind of paying tribute to him. Keeping that style.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was just such a terrible loss. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so what about you, Kyle?
I think so. I grew up on hard rock.
Mhm.
My parents really loved like classic rock, like Ozzy, like everything like Kansas, Boston, all that stuff. And then like kind of as I got older, I really liked a lot of hard rock, like Alter Bridge. Disturbed's kind of like on the border of new metal and hard rock. I really like that.
Mhm.
Me too.
Then I started getting into a little more of the heavier stuff. I started with the scene and then kind of moved into metalcore, like as they lay dying, like Trivium. Kind of moved into that area, and then now I'm really into more modern metal, kind of more the gent area. Like Tesseract's probably one of my favorite bands right now. They dropped a really fantastic album recently that I'm still in love with to this day. Same with Sleep Token. Humanity's Last Breath is one of my favorite artists too. Their last album was phenomenal too. So I'm more into the modern metal style and heavier style kind of lately. So kind of evolved and probably will continue to evolve. Really like what Bad Omens is doing with a lot of their electronic stuff and how they
That's
Mhm.
their new album was like really impressive with how they mixed that all together. So I'm excited for how metal is kind of evolving over time, and excited for what's next. I'll probably will change my preferences depending on whatever new metal is kind of introduced.
Yeah, you brought up Alter Bridge. I absolutely love Miles Kennedy's voice.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he is just insanely talented.
yeah.
So,
I've got the Blackbird logo tattooed on my back, so I'm very big Alter Bridge fan.
yeah, yeah. So, for each of you, what was the very first concert you attended as a fan?
You go first, Ron.
That would be Korn.
Yeah, you had mentioned that they were early. I just didn't know if they were your very first.
They were my very first. I didn't really go to any concerts before that. Nothing real in any way. But yeah, my dad, he took me to Korn as a birthday gift for me, my 14th birthday. So I was like in 8th grade, and usually I like to be in the crowd, but this was the time I was in seats because my dad was terrified of going to the crowd or anything.
He didn't want to get in the pit, huh?
No, it didn't. And it was before my time in the pits. Now I can't stay out of them. But yeah, no, it was just a great show. The energy was just so crazy. Like when I watched them, I just felt like a surge that I can't really explain. It's almost like a high, but like it's like a surge of power that goes through you as the music flows. So I've been going to lots of concerts in the time, but Korn were my very first back in 2012.
What about you, Kyle?
The first real concert that I attended was Motley Crue, and they played like that. They played at Six Flags, and Tommy Lee played on this kit that like circulated upside down on the roller coaster.
Oh yeah,
came back down. It was really loud, but that was really cool when he did that.
no doubt, no doubt. So, over the course of your musical careers so far, have you had the opportunity to meet any of your musical heroes?
Yeah, I've met the guys from Korn a couple times. I've met Corey Taylor from Slipknot a few times as well. And they've all, in my experience, always been really, really nice dudes. Like, just, one time, this was just not even like a meet and greet, but just early on in one of a Stone Sour show. Corey was in the parking lot. I was in the parking lot. We just struck up a casual conversation, which was nice. Really down to earth dudes. Yeah, well, those guys. I've met a lot of people, but those are the ones that really stick out.
Gotcha. What about you, Kyle?
I met Rohan, and he's my musical hero. So I don't.
Oh yeah, Kyle too. And I'm not joking. He's actually a big musical influence on me as well. But like
Rohan has the much cooler answer than me. I haven't really met any musical heroes, but my answer is Rohan for me.
I appreciate that.
That's nice, guys. So, away from music, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
So for me, I really love scuba diving, and so especially when sharks are involved. And I've been a big fan of like the ocean and sharks since I was like a 3-year-old or even younger maybe. And it's cool because have always been really separate loves, but for our first single for this album, I got to use the footage of my latest dive, and there were like hundreds of sharks there. And I just felt like, oh, you know what? This is going to be great video. I'm just sitting there with my GoPro, like, oh, these are going to be some great shots. I got to use it in something. So I ended up deciding to use it for our first lyric video. And so you can see all the footage of all the cool bull sharks and all the other stuff that I saw just in there. Was that wildlife and scuba diving and everything. Those are my other passions besides music.
Gotcha. What about you, Kyle?
I spend a lot of my time doing music outside of my work or outside of work. So it's tough to find other hobbies because I'm really in love with music. But what else I got is I do some motorcycling sometimes on the weekends. So I have a lot of fun doing that. I hang out with my cats quite a bit. I do some cooking. So just like kind of other, hang around, go out at restaurants and stuff. I like doing that, but it's tough to say because I spend a lot of my time on music.
Gotcha.
I love it.
Well, it's funny, Rohan, that you brought up the shark footage, because we're getting into the portion of this where we're going to be talking more about the band. And for folks that aren't familiar with you guys, I was planning to play the first couple of minutes of that particular video.
Oh, sweet.
So what a great segue. I mean, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and we'll play the first couple of minutes of Circle, and just give folks a taste of what you guys do.
Awesome.
So,
You'll like it.
Rohan shot this video of the sharks. It was all him.
Thank you. I did. It's true.
and we're back. But yeah, I can, like I was saying, I definitely pick up some Chester, and I also definitely pick up some Corn in some of your vocalizations and just your pacing. So,
Thank you. Yeah.
And absolutely love that song. That is really, really a banger.
Thank you so much. Yeah. This guy did all the instrumentals, so
You got me.
yeah, did all the instrumentals. I just laid some vocals on it. It is truly a team that makes the music that we make. So thank you. I'm very, very pleased. Thank you so much.
Well, that's collaboration is a beautiful thing. So, tell me about Embracing the Enemy. How long have you guys roughly been together? How did the band form? Where did the name come from? The name was actually one of the things that drew me to you guys initially. I love the name. So
yeah, thank you.
Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so I have the way that I came up with the name was it was like, it's kind of like, so a little backstory on me, like growing up, I was always a very like rambunctious and loud kid, and I've always been told by my peers and like other people, just like, hey, you need to like kind of calm down. You have a lot of energy. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down.
That's true. That's true.
I'm telling it's true, right? But so when with the name of the band, that's always been considered like the enemy, being loud, and being loud is what I do best. So I said, okay, I'm like that. I want to call this band like Embracing the Enemy, so that I'm going to be loud. I'm also going to make everybody else who's watching us, who's with us, listening to us, they're going to be loud. I just want to cause as much like chaos and disorder as possible, because I think it's fun. So Embracing the Enemy is like kind of my way of like, yeah, you can call it the enemy, but I'm coming back full force. You can't stop me.
I like it. It.
Thank you. Kyle, you want to talk about how long we've been around?
Yeah, we tapped a little bit on it earlier, but we've been about 8 years. I think since like freshman year of college when we met at that talent show. That was about like maybe midway through our first semester freshman year. So we were all real. Yeah, 2016. So we were all like real newbies back then who like were trying to, fit in college and meet people. So it was a really interesting experience to like meet these guys who were, him and our bassist were basically playing like a Korn song together, just them two with the backing track behind them. And they were blowing up the stage. And I thought that was really fun. Rohan was like jumping on top of tables and stuff. And the talent show judges looked like they'd been hit by a tornado, like they didn't know what was going on, but I loved it. So that was a lot of fun. So I definitely got with those two afterwards. I was excited to find other guys who were interested in metal, and then Rohan typed his phone number into my phone wrong. So about 3 months later, once we actually ran into each other again, that's when we started contacting each other again and started meeting up and playing some shows, and it was kind of history from there.
I thought he ghosted me, but it turns out I just gave him the wrong phone number. And then again, we figured that out later, and we're like, okay, well, now we had to make up for all this lost time. Let's start writing.
Absolutely. Well, that's actually a perfect segue, because, tell me about the songwriting process within Embracing the Enemy. Is there a primary writer, or is it a completely collaborative thing? How has that gone?
Kyle, you can start.
Yeah, it's kind of changed over the years. I think like it started out like kind of where I'd come with more of a central idea, and then we'd kind of work together like from that. But over the years, like as everyone's kind of developed, musically, and kind of gotten their like learned what their sound is and learned like where they rock at, then it's kind of started coming from different areas. Like our bassist will come with like most of the shell of a song, and then we finish it off. We'd have like our other guitarist like work on something for a while, and then he'd kind of come up with something. Rohan would come with some ideas where he'd come with like kind of a trap beat, or he'd sometimes come up with a little guitar part that we'd kind of morph into a song. But more like the more recent album has kind of been back to that, like I guess like I mostly start with like a centralized idea, and then Rohan builds the vocals off of that. And it's kind of, but there's a lot of it that's like, we review it a lot back and forth with the different groups, and like we go back and forth. It's really interesting working virtually. It's a very different experience than when we're all together as a band. This one's more of a send things back and forth versus we're all in the same space and we can jam together. I get that question a lot from all my friends, like, oh, you're in a virtual band, how does that work? And it's tough at times, and it also kind of rocks at times, because sometimes like when you're in a room trying to write a song, you butt heads a lot. And I know Rohan can definitely agree with that it's sometimes really hard to like be in a room and try to write a song together, because everyone like wants the song to go in a different direction. So sometimes it is nice, but then all the other times, like the drawback from that is that like whenever you are in a room with other people, you get all these different fresh ideas that you wouldn't have if you're alone in like a silo in your room. So it goes back and forth, but right now we're kind of working the virtual thing, like writing ideas separately, kind of going back and forth. So mostly most of the instrumentals kind of come from me, and then like Rohan will write like a book on them for more of the recent stuff.
Yeah, for most of this upcoming album, we did exactly what Kyle said, but like there were still a couple songs where we try to meet up once a year, and a couple of those times we just wrote some songs just all in the same room because it's a different process when Kyle comes up with something and I lay stuff on it. It's different from when we're both like cooking in the studio at the same time. And yeah, we do every now again we butt heads and everything, but you still get some really really cool ideas while you're still in the room. The only sad part about it really is that we don't really get to play live. We're hoping to fix that at some point, but as of right now, there's just not a way for us to do that. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, but that's that.
So, I guess with the geographical issues, currently, I guess it's fair to say that embracing the enemy is not a full-time thing. So, tell me about your day jobs.
Yeah, so I'm currently in between jobs. We all met at Purdue because we were all pursuing our degrees. I got my degree in computer science, and currently in between. See, I was just job interviews and just job apps. I did work. I did some automation stuff at a company last year. That was just a temporary position, looking for a good, solid, like groundbreaking job.
Gotcha.
Mm.
What about you, Kyle?
I work as a mechanical maintenance engineer for Chevron Phillips. So I'm
nice.
down in oil and gas in Houston and making the money.
Must be nice. I'm just kidding.
So in the times that you have had the opportunity to play live, if you can narrow it down to one or two little anecdotes, what have been some of the most interesting experiences you've had playing live?
Check out.
Yeah, sure, you go.
Okay. I think one of our most fun shows is we opened up for the rapper Ugly God. And this was in like 2019, and when I think like SoundCloud rap and trap music were like really popular in our college at least. And I got sucked into that. So I was also a big fan of like Ugly God at the time. And I was like, you know what? We've been playing shows at this venue. Let's see if we can. And somehow we got it. I kind of just wanted to see all like the rappers like faces when a metal band would take the stage. And I just wanted to shock some people, but it turns out a lot of them actually really liked us. And that was cool. That was probably the biggest crowd we'd ever played. And then that was all part of like a little tour. We were playing the same venue the next day for some indie band festival. So we're like, you know what? We're not rock stars, but let's pretend for this one. So we got a hotel room, like a suite, and we like threw a party, and we went to the zoo the next day. We made a whole trip of it just because we were like, yeah, this is we're students. We can't really be away for more than a weekend. So let's make this weekend our rock star bullshit, whatever we wanted to do. So.
Gotcha. I don't know if you had noticed, but Jillian over on YouTube was very complimentary about your video. I'm putting her comments back on the screen.
Oh yeah.
She definitely liked the shark footage, and she said your song slaps. So
thank you, Jillian. Appreciate it. That's my girlfriend. Yeah, so that's thank you. I appreciate all the love.
Love to see it.
We love to see it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I know that at least for right now, you guys really aren't having much opportunity to play live, but do you have a favorite Embracing the Enemy song to play live?
So far, Dominant Gene, off our first album. When we did play live, we really didn't get to play any of our second album live. That was when COVID hit and we all graduated. But when we used to play songs from our first album, The Anomaly, and Dominant Gene is always what we would end with. We would do like a similar. We would have like a little spot in the middle of the song where I'd try to rile everybody up and just be like, all right, I need everybody to go fucking crazy right now. And so just like rile everybody up and like, come on, can you hear me? Let's go. And then after that, the crowd would usually like at these smaller shows, the crowds are always standing in the back. So I'm like, I'm giving you the opportunity. Come up, get up here and go hard. So that was always my favorite part of playing shows. Kyle, you?
No, you rocked it. The Dominant Gene was a lot of fun. We'd kind of like, it'd be like one of those slingshot efforts where we'd pull everybody back, and then Rohan would try to like get a little pit going, and it was pretty funny because we'd be playing in front of college kids who like had never known what a pit is in their life, and they'd be trying to figure it out. And then like once we'd hit the drop, everyone would just be running around in circles, and they'd have no idea what's going on.
This is exactly what you need to do. That's all I was asking for. So
it was a lot of fun to see from the stage, but so that was a lot of fun, and I'm glad we got to play a lot of those shows, and I like playing that song a lot. So good times.
Very cool. So this is a question for each of you. What is your actual hometown, and what is your favorite thing about your hometown?
Okay. Yeah. So I grew up in San Jose, California, and Kyle.
I lived around quite a bit. I was born in Buffalo, but my family's currently in Charlotte, North Carolina. But I currently live in Texas, so it's tough to say where I've actually been from. But I guess I'm born in Buffalo, so I guess that's my hometown. I don't know.
We consider our band's hometown to be like where Purdue was, so like West Lafayette, Indiana.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we basically came of age there. We're college students there, and so and then we all met each other there. So that's what we would say is our band's hometown. I can tell you one thing that we didn't like about it was how cold it gets. That was absolutely our least favorite part of living there.
And windy, very cold and windy.
Very cold and windy. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's all I can remember about our hometown there. So.
Got you. Mm-hmm. So this is a question that I have asked on all of these, and it's become my favorite question just because I've gotten some of the coolest responses to this. And that is, knowing everything that you know now, if you could give any advice to your younger selves, what would it be?
I'll do the first one. You do the second one, Rohan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or I would say for bands coming up nowadays and trying to, make it big, you have to focus a lot of your effort, like more than you'd think, on promoting your band, which like a lot of people just whenever they get into music, they don't think about that. They think like they'll write like a cool record, and then they think they'll put that out there, and then they think that's it. I don't have to worry about anything else. Like the stars will align, everything will take care of itself, and then I will become the next greatest thing known to mankind. But realistically, that's the farthest thing from the truth. A lot of the work that's involved in a band is promoting your band. It's working through social media, like learning how to use like the different tactics, like learning how to like book shows, how to play live, and like how to do all this other stuff. And like whenever people start off in a band, they think, okay, like all I have to do is focus on the music. Unfortunately, that's not the truth. You have to focus a lot on promotion. You have to focus on promoting your brand and also your band, and kind of working through a lot of that. So that would be advice I would give myself for sure.
Yeah, for me, the same advice, because a lot of the mistakes that he mentioned were mistakes that we made. But for me personally, what I would want to tell to my younger self is, one would be to like, don't be so proud of if you get offered to play a show, then don't be like, hey, well, we're only going to play in like this little small spot. Like, what do you take me for? I was very proud. I was like, I'm going to embrace the enemy, for fuck's sake. But no, that's I would say, just to be humble and just be grateful for the opportunities that you do get, play whatever shows you get. And yeah, focus on promotion as well, because just because you write a really good album doesn't mean it's going anywhere. So yeah, over time we've learned to like kind of make more accessible media to having people learn about us and stuff. So
yeah, because like you were saying, you can have the greatest album in the world, but if there's nobody there to hear it, it's
the tree falls in the woods, right? It's the
yeah,
same thing. Yeah,
doesn't make a noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any suggestions for any other, I guess, for lack of a better term, up and coming bands to check out or potentially reach out to do one of these live stream chats?
Yeah, I'll start. Me and our bassist Vishnu have a side project that's another band called Coronis. It's also metal, but it's more focused on very like progressive metal. So it's a
like
lot.
Like Dream Theater type stuff.
Yeah, it's more like,
Yeah.
like that style with like a modern metal twist, where each album is like its own concept album, where each song is like a segment of the story that like the whole album is part of, and we do different like lyrical themes and conceptual themes for each album. It's very different than Embracing the Enemy. Embracing the Enemy is more of your hard hitter, like like really brutal bra, and it's got like Rohan's awesome like killer vocals on it. So the bands are very different, but that's if you're into more of that sort of thing, like more of the progressive style, that's a good avenue to go if you like our style.
They're really
cool.
They're really cool. I'm a big fan.
Awesome. Yeah. I will reach back out to you and hopefully we can arrange to get you guys on and talk about that side of things, because yeah, that would be great. I mean, personally, I'm a big Dream Theater fan. I absolutely, being a bass player, I love John Mayung's playing. I mean, he just is otherworldly. All of those guys are, really.
Yeah, he is much better than I could ever dream to be. No pun intended, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to be the same and plug my other project, but me and one of my friends, we started a rap side project, and I don't know if you're into the like hip hop as much, but we have like we have a song called Parasite. The group is called Aposematic. And that's kind of taken a backseat for a while since I've been so focused on working on this album with Embracing the Enemy. But after we take an album, we don't want to immediately start writing again. So I'll probably start working on some stuff with him soon. So hopefully when we have some stuff popping off, hopefully you'll give us a call. We can talk about that too.
Absolutely. Actually, every month I've been doing a new music spotlight show where basically, like, if in a particular month, if you have a new song dropping, what I do on the show is I'll play the new song in its entirety, and then have members of the band basically talk about that particular song, the meaning, the songwriting process, the recording process, things like that. Because it's just an additional way to get new music played. I mean, my particular show is not it's not tiny, but it's far from huge, but it's growing. And I just I've really enjoyed doing the new music shows because I've actually been able to actually introduce a few bands to each other, and and when that sort of thing happens, you never know what it could eventually lead to in terms of collaboration or whatever, so it's been pretty cool. But consider you guys as having a standing invitation. When you've got new stuff, let me know, and we'll get you on a new music show.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's actually a great segue. We're dropping a new song day after tomorrow, actually. So we got 2 songs from our album that are currently out, and then the third one is gonna drop on Friday. There's gonna be one more single, and then we're just gonna drop the full thing. So
nice. But yeah, we can try to arrange to get something on for the August show. We can either have you guys back on live, or we can pre-record a segment for that show. I've done both, and it works fine. So
yeah, no, that'd be great.
But something else that I've done on all of these that's just been kind of fun is I've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And so one of my recent guests was a guy named Chris Cassine, who is the bass player for a band out in Kansas City called Scarlet View. And he posed a question that if you were stranded on a desert island and could only have one instrument, what would it be?
I have a funny answer to this. A long time ago, when I was like a teenager, I was on a cruise, and they asked a similar question, but it was, who would you want to bring on a deserted island with you out of all the other people here? And most of the people chose me, saying that, if anyone's going to be loud enough to get someone's attention, it'd be him. So I don't think I would need an instrument. I could probably yell loud enough to cause a small earthquake. So
you're your own instrument.
I'm my own instrument. I'll just yell obnoxiously until somebody is like, all right, might as well get this guy.
Voice is the instrument. You're incredibly loud in your vocals. So there you go. That's your instrument.
Yeah. That would be me. Yeah.
So I'm presuming in your case, Kyle, it would be some type of guitar. Is there a particular guitar that you would, if you could only have one?
If I'm on an island, then I probably won't have electricity and an amplifier, so I'd probably bring an acoustic just so that I could hear it a little bit better. That's kind of the lame answer. Rohan's was much better.
It's not a competition.
So, since this is a series, do you guys have a question or questions that you would like to pose to the next musical guests?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I would, what type of gig would you just, if you were offered, that you would absolutely refuse to play? It's a gig, but the conditions are so poor that you just, nope, I don't want anything to do with this. What kind of gig?
I like it.
Thank you.
What about you, Kyle? You got anything?
No, Rohan's is much better than anything I could think of.
Okay. Rohan, how would you answer that question?
How would I answer that question? I don't know. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I would tell myself to just be grateful for any gigs that I'm offered. But maybe if it was in a place that just smelled horrible or was very disease ridden or just, I don't know, really gross, I guess that would probably affect my vocals anyway. So I'd be like, nah, I can't perform to my fullest here because it smells like shit. But I guess that would be it. Other than that, I would hope to not be too proud to play any smaller shows or whatever. So
Gotcha. So you guys have the new album coming in September, correct?
Yep, September 13th, our new album Nihilist comes out on all platforms.
Friday, September 13th.
Friday, September 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, that's right. Forgot about that.
Nice. Well, without I guess, I won't ask the magicians to reveal too much of their tricks, but what can you tell us about the new album?
You want to go first? I'll come in after.
I think our band takes a very different direction with this new album. I like to think it's got like kind of a mood of its own. It's a lot darker. It's very heavy, and uh, it's got like this weird melancholic vibe that's very difficult to describe, but it's really addicting. At the same time, it's got a lot of very fun riffs. It's massive, it's huge, it's powerful, and it's also just really angry at times. And sometimes, like when I'm listening to it, just like testing it out, it feels like it's almost alive, and I think that's really cool. It's I think, in my opinion, it's far beyond the rest of the work that we've done, and it's kind of like it's where we've really found our sound, and I think like I don't mean to overhype it too much, but it's definitely something fantastic that I think everyone should listen to, or at least everyone who's into like that kind of metal.
I would go even further and just say everyone should probably listen to it because, as big of metalheads as we are, as I mentioned earlier, I'm also a very big hip hop fan. And I think that not that I'm like rapping all over the place, I do every now and again, but like it shows even in like the really heavy metal songs, like the way that I spit or I scream, like it's a very unique album, I would say. And it does blow everything else out of the water that we have. We have 2 albums out on Spotify right now, and you know we had I'm trying to find the right way to say this. We had a lot of rules for ourselves back in the day when we were writing our early music. We were very much like, this song has to be verse, chorus, bridge over here. Like we were structuring our songs. For this album, we said no rules. We just do whatever we want. So some songs have no like repeating chorus like the ones that dropped, and some songs we do go back to that verse, chorus style. But we didn't limit ourselves, and we like some of the lyrical choices that we would have thought were too crazy back then. We were like, yeah, screw it. Let's just make an album that we ourselves would enjoy, and it'll be authentic. And I'm sure that everyone else is gonna feel the same way. I'm very proud of the lyrics on this album. We're gonna have like lyrical streams or like streaming videos with the lyrics on the screen and everything. I would encourage everybody to listen with the lyrics because I'm very proud of them and I want people to hear what I'm saying. So.
Absolutely. Well, Jillian gave some further encouragement that I put up on the screen. So.
Oh yeah, overhype it. You can't overhype it. It's really an album apart. I think that even if you don't like it, like that's fine, but like give it a chance. Give the whole thing a run through front to back. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Absolutely. Well, a guitarist from a local Atlanta band called Death Blender actually put a comment in the Instagram chat saying, that he hasn't had a chance to listen to you guys yet, but when you said Korn, he got excited.
Good. Well, I hope you enjoy because I mean, like I said, Korn is my all-time favorite band, and I think that the music reflects that. So all our styles kind of merged into one. That's what we are, and Korn is absolutely at the top of my list. So
I love the name Death Blender. That's amazing.
Death Blender also, yeah, that's sick. That's a sick.
I love that.
You should absolutely check out Death Blender. They've got their stuff on Spotify, and I've seen them play live twice, and they put on a very intense show. They are a lot of fun.
That's what I like to hear. All right, I'm definitely checking them out like right after this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting toward the end of things now. So beyond the new album, do you have any other upcoming stuff you'd like to hype?
Yeah. Outside of music, I've been working with one of my friends, Chris Yen, on some films, and hopefully we'll collab on some other stuff. But like he's got a project called Suburban Story that's coming.
Mhm.
That's winning the short film festival circuit right now. So that's hopefully going to come out on YouTube. Hopefully, don't quote me on anything, but that's what I hear, that it'll hopefully be out on YouTube at some point for everyone to see. But you should also go check it out. If look up Suburban Story, Chris Yen. If that is coming into the area near you, that's a film that I had the pleasure of working on, and he's got some new projects coming out as well that I would love to hype. And some of them I'll be in it, some of them I won't, but it's all great. So if I were to pick anything, I would pick that.
I think
Awesome.
for this upcoming album, the upcoming album's really hype for Embrace the Enemy, but keep a lookout on our socials because we have a lot of funny skits that are coming up that I think people will really enjoy. I know, like they're pretty funny, and I like to look at them every once in a while and laugh at them, and I think they're worth watching. So
Yes.
follow us on our socials to stay in tune with those skits because they're coming up and they're pretty funny.
Yeah, we haven't dropped any like really funny ones. I mean, like we have a couple, but like we've mostly have just been kind of like lyric snippets and stuff. But as our not this upcoming single, but the single after that, we got a lot of funny stuff coming. So stay tuned for all. I'll follow our socials for that.
Absolutely. I tried to put as at least the socials of yours that I could find on the ticker on the bottom of the screen. So
Oh yeah,
so hopefully that's pretty much all of it.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're pretty much at the end of things. So thank you guys for your time. I mean, this has really been a lot of fun, and I've definitely gotten a lot out of this. And for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. And for those of you that'll be watching this in replays or reposted videos, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, spread the word. This thing's really starting to take on a life of its own, and I'm just excited to be along for the ride and see it grow. And everybody have a safe night, a safe and productive rest of your week, and just thank you. I'm just really grateful for all of this.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us and everything. We enjoyed talking about all of our stuff, and it's been great. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
This has really been a blast. So thank you, and we'll go ahead and end